Yeah, Sensor, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right, I'm Spencer. I run a small business called Time Paced Automation, and you've probably seen me on Discord as Ragequit. Steve?
Thank you. Yep, I'm Steve Pinkney, and I own a small consultancy called Conceptia. I'm an agile coach, and you, like I said, see me on Discord as Conceptia, obviously. Um, real quick shout out to those who appreciated the video in Discord. I think this morning, God, it seemed like a long time ago. So thank you all for the for the um, the graciousness, the gratitude, and the well wishes. So yeah, we thought we'd come on and do yet another one. I'm going to show you what Spencer's going to walk us through today or tonight. Let me bring it up. Give me 1 second, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. You know you're getting old and you have to talk yourself through everything. All right. All right. So this is the app that we started building last video, and it's kind of a rudimentary CRM system, if you will. And so we thought where we'd pick up today is by adding some AI functionality to it because of course AI, right? Everything needs AI in it these days. In this case, what we're going to do is basically add a feature where you can select a user, enter, or let's say a customer rather, enter their needs, customer needs. Oops, I thought I'd save that. Well, let's see. We need a CRM system that is flexible, can accommodate our workflow. And I don't know if I got that spelled right, but we're going to go with it. And then click generate sales email. And we wait a second or three. We really should make this text box bigger.
Yeah, it's strange that it shows up
Oh,
that way on your screen because I know
oh,
it's set to 400 pixels high,
okay. Okay.
but
Interesting.
we'll see if we could do better on the next run.
Yeah, fair enough. And so as Tristan says, et voila. But yeah, here you can see the message that comes back from AI. Hi Alice, which again was the user we selected. Hope you're doing well. Reaching out and you're saying your CRM system is not only flexible, perfectly aligns with your unique workflow requirements, which you can see echoes what we captured as a customer need. And so yeah, with that, I'll hand it over to Spencer and he'll walk us through how to build this.
Let's see if I get the right window to share here.
How many tabs do you have open?
Too many.
Like, know your business, right?
Much too many.
We had to. I started using a little utility called Tab Wrangler personally because
Uh,
I was we just have 37 tabs open and couldn't find everything, and of course the machine would just start slowing down, and
yeah.
this has helped.
All right. So here is our original template where we left off with the last video. And essentially what we're going to need to do is um, add a template parameter. And that template parameter is going to store the data that is set when a row is clicked in the data table. And then that data will be used when we click the button to generate the email. But there's a
Let me
few things.
just real quick, a few people joined the community since this last video. So template parameter, just think of that as a variable that's attached to this window here, this template as well. Okay. All right. Sorry, Spencer, please.
No worries. And actually, what I'm going to start with here is a correction from the last video. We discussed in the last video that there wasn't an option to define column visibility with this easy method of loading the data into the data table, but that's actually incorrect. There is a way to do it. And Tristan and Wim helped me out to understand how this is done. So we're going to do it now because it'll actually be necessary. Um, the trick is that the column code has to match the property in the data format. So just as a quick refresher, let's bring up one of the data items, and we'll see first name, last name, profile image. For some reason, it's not formatting. Let me try reopening it. But all of those property names or keys can be set in the column code, and then only those columns will be shown in the data table. So we'll start building this out. I'm just going to copy this into a separate window for now so that I can copy and paste easier. And back here on the data table, we will set the code to match the property, first name, and then we give it a title, first name. And let's just quickly run this with one just to see that it actually works. So we should only see the first name, and that's what we see here. So you can see you can actually control the column visibility in this method. It still doesn't give you as much control as the more complex method, which we haven't shown you an example of yet, but it's nice to know that this is possible.
Okay.
All right, last name. We made profile image because that's necessary for the image to load. And actually, we don't need to show that, so we'll hide that. The data is passed through whether it's visible or not.
Okay. Pass through to the data table itself, you're saying, right?
Passed through to. So we're showing those profile details on the right side. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's passed through to the template.
Okay, gotcha.
Country. Let's see, what else did we have? Lead source. Oops. Right here. Lead source. And that will get all of our necessary columns back. If I refresh the page, we should see all of the necessary ones now, and we should still be able to click and the information loads. So that information it's loading the item from the data, putting it into the data table, and then the information in the data table is used to populate this profile detail on the right side.
A quick question. The
Yes.
profile detail on the right side, is that, are you able to edit that data, or is that for display only? Like, can you click into there and type something?
These are input fields, so technically we could. It's not enabled to do that right now.
Okay.
Actually, I saw there was an edit icon here that the AI put in. Somewhere I saw that. I don't see it now. Anyway, that's something that could be built. Oh yeah, there it is. So that functionality could be built out. You know, you put an on action attached to this, and then enable these fields, and then you'd need to build out the functionality to save the changes as well. You would have to write that back to the data item.
Gotcha. Right,
but
cool. Thank you.
One important piece to that is knowing, or for the template really, to know how does it map that data back to the data item? Because right now we only have this information. So you could match it based on first and last name, I guess, or profile image, one of these. But really what we want to do is to use this ID, which is a built-in out-of-the-box value that's generated for all data items. And So what we need to do here is in our columns, we need to add ID.
Yeah, Tristan and I were just talking this morning when he was helping me out with something. He was saying that the ID is really the best value to use when looking at elements and data formats and objects and whatnot. So okay.
And we don't need to see this, so we can hide it.
Right. Okay.
But now we have something that can map back to the data item, and that's what we will use then for this generate email button.
Right.
Okay, so now if we go into the template settings and the template parameters, we don't currently have any template parameters defined. This is a parameter that's put into the scope of the template. It can be used in attached pages or other templates that are associated with it, and also actions that are associated. I'll kind of show what that looks like a little bit later. But for now, we just need to choose a data type, because actually, let me take that back. I think we need to choose an object. The reason for that is that our row object is an object, not a data item. So hopefully I'm right in remembering this. We'll see.
Let me explain for like I said, the new people who joined the difference between data and object, because it wasn't clear to me until recently. I'm actually speaking to Tristan. And object is what Spencer showed a minute ago when he went to the data format area, where you had the open and closed curly braces and then the fields and the values, basically. So that's just the JavaScript object, the JSON, basically. Data is, what comes from the database. And so it has all that information that's in the object, but it also has some additional row metadata, like the date the row was created or last updated, and some other metadata that I can't remember off the top of my head. So it's the entire row of data that comes from the database as well. That's what's represented by data. Okay.
Yeah, so for this, we're just choosing an object. For the input type, I don't think it matters. I don't remember exactly. We're going to see what happens here. So choose a user data format input.
And this represents the row you click on in the data table. Is that what this is representing right here?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, all right.
So I think it'll work as a data format because it has the same parameters. It's just not actually the full data item. Yeah, we'll see. Might go wrong. That's okay. Part of the learning process.
Exactly.
Okay, so now that we have the template parameter set, we can, let's build out the actual inputs and button that we need. I'm going to put it on the left because there's more room there. Put a text field and call this next customer needs. Customer needs. Okay, it's enabled. That looks fine. Is that a button? This can be a regular button. Button needs to be for generating an email. Generate email. Type. Be click icon. Do we have any email icons? Sure, mail icon.
Do it.
Okay, we need one more text field, and this can also be an input, just to make it easier to copy and maybe make changes to it before using it. This will be text, say AI result. It's called generated email. And we don't need a placeholder. For the style, I'm going to make it hidden first. And actually increase the height to 500 pixels.
Why are you making it hidden, just so we all understand?
Yeah, the reason behind that is just because when the page first loads, we don't need to see that text field. We'll just see the customer
Okay.
needs and the generate email. And then once we click on the button, we
Ah,
can show that once
enable.
the result is returned.
Okay.
Just a
Okay.
little,
Fancy.
yeah, just a little bit of style there. All
This is for
right.
the premium subscription users of the CRM.
And we can go ahead and create the on-click action for the button. I want to change the name of this to on-click generate email. And let's see, thinking through what else needs to be done here. I know I didn't change anything or add anything to that function yet, because I want to set up the rest of this data table on click first.
Okay.
So we've got a few other objects here. I think it was on click data table row. That's the one that's in this. Okay, yes, this is the function that's setting all of that profile detail on the right side of the page and setting the image. So here we need to tell it to set the value of the template parameter that is set up on that template. And I told you I'd show you how that is kind of connected. So if you go to action triggers, you can see the calling template. And that's, I guess that's the best way that I know to see that association.
Okay.
So value of a parameter on the current template. Yes, so that should be the one that we need to do. All right, let's link that. And the parameter, I think I called it selected row or selected user.
So, something like selected row.
And then for the value that we need to place, it's the row data object. So you can see here, this is an object. That's why I was changing it from a data item to an object.
Yep.
The row data itself is an object. And let's go back and check to see if it was actually called selected row or selected user. I don't remember.
Selected row.
Okay, good. So now it's going to store that row information in the parameter each time a row is clicked. Yep. Should be all that we need to do there. Now we can start building out this function for generating the email. It's detected that there are parameters in the template that this is attached to. Again, you can see that it's attached to the CRM dashboard.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And we've got the selected row here. So I just clicked on that yellow text, and now I will choose add this parameter and save. So this allows us to use this row object that is being set on each click of a row. Since we have the input type set as data format input user, there should not be a need to set those properties manually. So if this works, that makes it a little bit easier on us. We don't have to find all of those. All right, so what do we need to do when the generate email button is clicked?
Console or log. That's always my first go-to. Do a log statement.
Not a bad idea. Yeah, let's start there. Let's see what it's doing right now. That'll inform our next move.
Okay. So log is just a way of showing output from one of the functions or one of the actions that you're building. It's a good way to debug and troubleshoot and see if you're actually getting the data that you're expecting to get or hoping to be getting.
Yes. Okay. We're going to refresh our page here. And I need to select a row and then click this generate email button and see what shows up in the log. So what do we have? We've got, it's just this top row. Okay. I was seeing the lower ones. It looks like that was just from your test earlier.
Okay.
So this looks good. This is pulling in all of the information that we need. We have the ID here. This is, again, what we're going to use to associate back to the data record itself.
Okay.
So let's.
Oh, I see. You had row object. That's why we got the full row. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
Can you show, before you move on, would you mind going back to the log and showing how to output just the ID and not the entire data row?
Okay, sure. Let's see. We don't have that option because that's not part of the object. That's actually part of the data. So that's kind of confusing. But since this is a data format input, NoCode-X does not know that there's an ID property associated with this object. Okay. Even though it shows up in the log, we can see that the property exists. Mm-hmm. The data format that we've defined does not include ID. It's just a metadata property. So what we would need to do to capture just that is in the logline placeholders, mm-hmm. we can do a field name of ID, think through this, how are we going to select it if it's not here? We might actually have to change that from a data format to.
Okay, don't change it just for this. Okay. Yeah, don't worry. Don't change it just for
this. Let me change your request. And yeah, if you can't solve it, just solve something else.
Change the requirement.
Like what a politician would do, right? But
Exactly. I don't want to answer that question. I'll answer this one instead, right?
Let's just write out the first name.
Brilliant.
So here I'm
You
putting
mean first name?
the double curly brackets to do a placeholder, and then in the logline placeholders, I'll define what that is, and in the scope, I can choose selected or first name, and wait for it to save and refresh, and let's see if that works to just output the first name. Alice, generate email.
Peer programming works. There we go.
Okay, so
Two
this
guys,
works.
one brain, right? All right, cool.
Yeah, that's how to output just one property if it's defined.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking through, I think what we would need to do if we wanted to get the ID is do another function to grab the ID from selected row and then output the result of that.
Okay. Okay. When Tristan watches this later, he's going to be grimacing like, "No, but yes."
Okay, click generate email. So now we need to get the value from the customer needs text box.
So a PSA, public safety announcement, if you will, for lack of a better phrase. It is worth spending some time scrolling through all of these functions and seeing what's out there. There is a plethora of functions there on the left pane there, and I learned about a new one, a very important one this morning from Tristan. Something called Route the Page, basically, that helped address a problem I was having. So I highly encourage you all just to scroll through and have them play with ones and not just use the same old 5 to 7 that have seem to become very common lately. Well, or commonly used, I should say, lately.
All right, so what I just added was to get the value of the customer needs text field. Pretty straightforward. Now we need to add the AI function. So scrolling down here to AI, there's a lot of options for AI. And I don't know what they all do, but I know that the one that we need right now is this one. So LLM Completion Request.
And just a quick preview or walkthrough, what's happening is, as you heard Spencer say, is getting the value from that text box, the customer's need text box, passing that to the AI, calling the API for the AI. Got a lot of initials there. Then that response will be captured in the variable, and then that variable output will be entered into a text box. So I just wanted to give you all kind of a preview of what's happening or about to happen.
So this is the AI prompt, and it's not going to be great, but it will give us some result, and that's what we need to see. Let's call it customer name. And I'm going to be using some placeholders here, so just typing those in as they will be defined. Country. Country is kind of a nice piece of information to include for the AI to generate a response. Anything else you want to see in that prompt, Steve?
Yeah, that'll work.
User prompt placeholders. So here's where we need to define those 4 placeholders. Switch over to object and add placeholder to define each of those. So first name, last name. Some of this is a little bit tedious, I guess, but
Yeah.
once it's set up once, you don't usually have to touch it again. So
An auto detect feature here would be cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be great, actually.
A little button that auto detect the placeholders and create them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that, Tristan? You hear that? Tristan's probably starting to think these guys are never satisfied.
I know. Always demanding something else.
Always want more. More.
Yeah, that rocket mode that he's talked about sounds pretty nice, though. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes.
All right, we've got the 4 placeholders, first name, last name, needs, and country. So that will, the placeholders will, in our text, be replaced by the actual values. And again, these are coming from the template parameter, which is being set by the click of the row.
Can you expand one of those again, please? One of the placeholders?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Customer needs. All right.
That's from this action above it. If we look at the other one, last name, this shows current user dot last name.
Gotcha.
Actually, current user is not right. That was
Current user. Yeah. Like, wait a
that was a
minute.
mistake.
Wait a
It should be
minute.
selected row.
It's okay.
I just
Current
noticed
user
it.
is like who would actually, the person that's actually logged into the application if we were
Yep.
doing authentication and all of that.
Okay. Thanks for double checking me there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. System prompt, we want this to always return the result in a JSON format. Body. So we're just giving it an example of the JSON format that we want to receive in the system prompt. The system prompt is something that's sent every time. So we should be able to then more easily parse the result that AI gives us. If we don't include this, it's just going to be text that's returned, but we need it in structured format. So whenever working with AI responses, it helps to put an example of the JSON format that you want it to return.
Right. And in case anyone's wondering, also, when it's just one value is coming back, it's not as, necessary if you want to put it in JSON, but you'll sometimes have a prompt that returns multiple values. And in that case, it's definitely very powerful to have it return in a JSON structure of some sort.
All right, so here I'm entering in the API token. This is from OpenAI. Steve, do you know if it says here in the information, if we don't insert this, it uses our NoCode-X AI credits. Do you know if that works?
I have not tried that.
Okay.
Let's try it with and then without it. Yeah, let's get it working with it, and then I'll remove it and see what happens.
Okay, sure. Well, the result, AI result, and the response format. Oops. We need to define the response format. So we'll create another data format. And
we're having to do that. It's weird.
It's probably not. Let's see. No, our only options here are for a data format. So.
Oh, can you scroll up again to the very top of this pane here?
Okay.
Very, very top. I will see LLM Completion. Yeah. Weird. Yeah, I don't remember having to specify a specific data format just for that. Is it mandatory? Is it?
It's not mandatory.
Okay.
I'm guessing it just forces it into that format, or requires it to be in that format rather.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
anyway, a couple different ways, I guess, that could be done. Maybe you don't have to do this step.
Mhm. I too. Can we try it both ways? Can you try it without it and then come
Sure.
back and add it?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll hold off
This
on
is
that.
part what we want to do is see what happens when we do these, knucklehead ideas that we have.
Yeah, might as well experiment a little bit. All right, so we've got the LLM completion request. We need to, I think, extract the JSON since we're telling it to return the result in JSON format. I believe this should give us what we need next. Need to choose the AI result. This is what was defined in the previous action. And I'll just call it JSON result. At this point, we can extract, let me see here. This extracts a JSON text from an LLM response. I believe this gives us a string though. Let's do this. Let's write it to the log and see what it looks like. And then we can continue building.
Yep. In log we trust, right?
Here's our, oh, thought I gave it a name. Maybe it didn't save it. JSON result. And then we want to choose JSON result here. Yeah, so that's where it shows it's a string. And I find that a little bit strange because JSON to me implies an object, but
Yes.
this is technically extracting a JSON string, a string of JSON. So with that in mind, let's convert a string to an object. We'll try this.
I see why my development takes so much longer than yours, because I'm like testing after every single function I drop on a canvas.
So normally I do that too, just to see the result. But since I did prep a little bit before this, just to make sure that we could actually create something useful, kind of know what the problems that we might run into are. Right, so we've got a string, and then here again, need a data format. Let's do this instead. I'm going to hold off on this, set it to the side, and let's set the value of our text input field. Where is it here? This one is the value of input field. I think it's this one. No, that's not it.
Oh, that's right. Is that a text box or an input
It's
field? Text input, or is it text? It's got,
text.
Those bottom, you got to choose one of those. Yep. So the function that you choose has to match the type of element that's on the template. So in this case, there are two text type elements. There's a text input field, and then there's a text element. And so depending on which one you drop on a canvas, that'll determine which function you use here. And as you saw, it'll only detect it if it's the appropriate function or correct function. that matches the type of element.
All right, so the way this is set up now, this should output this JSON string into the AI result field. And then remember we hid it, so we need to show an element as well. Do that as the last step here.
The heck is show a snack bar?
Snack bar is like a menu, I believe.
Okay. Huh.
It's either a menu or a like an informational pop-up.
Okay.
It's been a little bit since I did Android development.
Yeah, never heard that term before.
So we need to show the AI result, text AI result. It should be this one. And just because I have word memory, did we put a token in? Yes. Okay. So this should work. Let's see what the result is. Refresh the page.
Yeah, if this works, we're going to take out the API key and see what happens.
Sure. Customer needs. Say Bob needs.
Actually, no, don't put Bob because remember that gets passed.
That's true.
Yeah. And so let's prove that that's working.
Okay. What does a customer need? I don't know.
Flexible CRM system.
Flexible CRM.
Yeah, go to ChatGPT to write this part.
Okay.
Pretty soon we won't be thinking at all. We'll just be going from one AI to another.
All right. We have some display issue here. The text field is not very accessible to us. I also don't see anything populated there. Let's check the log and see what we can figure out.
Well, it takes us a few seconds, so let's see.
Logging this indication, I'll check AI result. Okay, that
might be the format then.
That was related to the file when I got that before, and I messaged you. So I don't know if this is a bug or what's going on here, but let's just try choosing or going over to list. We'll still leave files blank.
Okay.
Actually, it wasn't giving a message about. Oh, here it is. Yeah, trying to pass a file to chat completion request, etc. Okay, so we're still not defining a file, but we chose list instead of scope under files. And let's just try this again. Go to Eve. Generate email. It's taking a little bit longer. This looks promising. All right, so we do have text that it generated. We still have the display issue.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, a few things to fix then. Let's start by just testing removing the API token, see if it still works.
Oh, okay.
It does.
No, you're supposed to say voila.
Voila. Okay.
Tristan, I'm not making fun of you, Tristan, so don't turn off my access, please.
All right, that's nice. That
Yeah.
was the NoCode-X tokens that you've either purchased or already have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and we're saying that you don't have to have the response format set as well. We learned that.
Well,
Uh,
it does output something.
mhm.
Do we need to? Yeah, I guess we don't need to set it there.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to have it specified to get the result.
We still it would be nice, at least I guess, if we took the value just of email body
Oh yeah,
and
you got to parse
set
the JSON.
only that. So let's do that next. Uh, input
Is there a
field.
parse function?
We need to do this. Let's drop this right in the middle here. Give ourselves some room. So this is the convert a string to an object function, or yeah, function, where it's taking the string JSON result, and here again we need a data format. I'm just going to create the data format then. This will
Just
be
a given, just like that.
yeah, AI email response.
Oh wait, you got from JSON, right? You got the from JSON option up there. Yeah.
True.
Don't,
Yeah, we could do that, I guess.
yeah,
So
man.
if I copy this whole thing,
Yeah.
usually these icons
Mhm.
require AI tokens to use. So if you
Okay.
don't have AI tokens, you
Mhm.
might need to just do the blank option and create it manually.
Gotcha.
But uh, yeah, this should work. Create data format.
We're token ballers, so we're gonna go
Yes.
ahead and spend our 3 tokens.
Yeah, it it created this amazing data format with just one property here.
Nice.
That's all we need though. So all we need is email body. So we'll save that, and then we will close the data format. Go back to the generate email function. And once it loads, select that data format. This is the error from before, by the way. This is not a
Yeah.
recent error or one that we need to worry about right now. Sometimes it'll
Okay.
show previous errors, so don't think that
Mhm.
that's from like the latest run.
Right.
It might be old.
And you can tell by looking at the timestamp of the log entry as well.
Okay, so we got the data format there. Response. And then we need to, what did we, let's give that a more descriptive name. This is the um, email body object. Actually, oh, no, this will work, I think. Answer to be this. Okay, yes. Since it is a data format, the email body property is available for us here.
Okay.
So we choose that, and now if we rerun this, we should only see what's in the email body property.
All right. There we go. Cool.
Okay, looks better.
And how about we drag that over to the detail pane? Can we do that? Put it over to the right side, the output.
We can.
They're active.
We could do that.
Yeah.
let's take a look at the template.
Yeah.
And right now,
Ideally. Go ahead.
that AI result text box is hidden, so we have to go into the navigator to actually find it and do stuff with it. So we'll have to show it for now.
All right.
Probably another way to resolve this would be changing the style. Let's see, height is 100%, so I'm just curious. Let's try this, setting this to fit content on the vertical list that contains this text field. Should allow it to expand.
Right.
And then we should be able to scroll down to it more easily. And also, I think our height is fine. That's 500 pixels. Okay. Well, it was already visible, so that might be a factor in why it shows better right now.
Mm-hmm.
Make it hidden again by default and see if it still sizes correctly.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it does. Good. So this looks better. Yeah, we could still move it over though.
Okay.
We'll have to show it again.
A nice tab panel over on the right side, but I don't know if that works yet. So let's not worry about that. We've already gone down that rabbit hole once.
Drop it here under the Save Changes button. Let's check this vertical list too. This is also set to 100%. I'm going to change that to fit content and ensure that overflow of Y is set to visible. And we should basically get the same result now, just that the box is moved over to the right. Of course, I forgot to make it hidden again. Get hidden by default. Refresh the page. And when we hit generate email, this is processed through AI, and that looks much better. So also, since this is an input field, you could modify this before copying it out and pasting it in your email client.
Yeah. Nice. So on an actual build, if someone were actually building a CRM system, other functionality might be to have another button that would actually, maybe call an API to either Gmail or Outlook, and go ahead and send it on. But yeah, we're not going to do that. Just sharing ideas. So, all right, this is very cool. Very nice. Yeah, anything else we want to show tonight?
I think this covers it.
Yeah, I agree.
We got it working with AI, so that's the goal.
So it's now an official modern application, AI-enabled CRM. Do you think we can get funding for it right now? And
yeah,
it has AI in it, so we should be good to go, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's an AI wrapper.
All right. For those watching, thank you. And we're not on YouTube, so we don't have to say like and subscribe. But if you all would, do share with us, what things you'd like to see videos on. That'll help as well. Give us some ideas of either functionality you'd like to see or some of the features that are in no code that you'd like to see. We may not know them, but we can certainly learn them. And yeah, share share a video or two about that. So any closing thoughts from you, Spencer?
I'm out of thoughts.
It's been a long day, right?
Yeah. Thanks for doing this though with me, Steve. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no,
this is fun.
I agree. No, thank you for doing it as well. All right, we'll talk soon. All right, see you in the next video.
Right.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Bye.